Hey, welcome everyone back into Crypto's News. It is me, Omar Bam, aka Crypto. So excited to share another week with you. Happy Monday. I hope that you are doing fantastic. We're about to get started with some crypto news. So I want to go ahead and start off by giving a huge thanks to those of you here who are here live. 10 Pence, Pothead, Validator, ETH, Yo, Pretzel Meat, Howdy, Neil Ward, and Pretzel Meat yet again. And we are live. Indeed. Thank you so much for your continued support. I've got some stuff that I think you're going to want to be aware of, as well as sharing a platform that I think you could utilize at the end that might be beneficial. So I hope you'll stay tuned and enjoy the show. Let's go ahead and get started by taking a look at the prices. So as you can see here, we have recovered somewhat today with ETH. It had dropped actually into $1,200 territory, but right now it's at 1379.61, up 3.3% over the last 24 hours, yet down still a staggering, 21.7% over the last 7 days. Following the merge, it has not been an uptick in prices. In fact, has been a bit of a shocker for some. Although, again, that was the consensus generally, that we were going to get a sell-off, that it was going to be a buy the rumor, sell the fact. The fact of the merge coming out did lead to a sell-off. And we're seeing that actually miner balances are dropping off quite a bit as well. I was tweeting some of that earlier on. We have Bitcoin under 20,000 at $19,518, up 0.7%. And we are below $1 trillion right now, still at 982 million, so not a huge drop off. That's pretty much a story across the board. We have both red and green, depending what coin you're holding. Although we do have some coins that are up quite a bit today. You can see here up a lot is ApeCoin up 18.5%. Terra Luna Classic. That's, again, just a sign to some. The fundamentals don't really matter. That is up 13.8%. What's up, Neil? You had something to say. Omar, great to hear. So can you tell us about how you stand on the market situation at the moment? Are you mostly in stables? Are you waiting to buy? Are you starting over from the beginning? Yeah, I've had obviously a huge personal setback with what happened with Celsius and my own delusions through mania that eventually happened. And, honestly, for me, it is a lot of having to start over. But right now, I'm mostly in stables. I still have half a validator's worth validating, I guess you could say, right now. And so that is basically I hope to have that hopefully make it through the bear market and make it through that. I think that'll be worth a lot at some point. But right now in the macro sphere, I'm just thinking there's still a lot of pain to come. Personally, I would have hoped that the merge would have driven ETH into a more persistent kind of bull market, but that just didn't pan out. We saw it already showing weakness as we started to head towards the merge, and it just fell away. So right now, I don't think that there's that much as far as a catalyst, kind of like what Ryan Sean Adams has to say here. So I think it's just a waiting and seeing and trying to survive. It's kind of like a hibernation mode, I would say. Nice to have some dry powder on the side in the form of stables, of course. But even that is like, it's such a weird regulatory environment. We have more crackdowns from the Fed. So, and you have situations with like trust in Maker and DAI and things like that. So even when it comes to trying to get into different stables, it's a matter of trying to trust the difference between Tether, and obviously that's something that might be not the most trustworthy. So you have to choose kind of even within stables what might be the safest for you. So really a tough time right now to try to predict anything. That's kind of where I'm at right now. And I'm super eager to continue to read about what others are doing. I think for most part, people are saying it's going to be a while before we have an uptick. I mean, anyone can say whether we bottomed or not, but we're still about 570-ish days away from the Bitcoin halving. I think that's the next big catalyst everyone's waiting for. In the near term, it's really the Federal Reserve coming out this Wednesday and giving us more of an update, what's going to be happening with their interest rate hike. We'll be finding out then at the FOMC meeting. We haven't had one in 2 months. That's going to be leading 80% toward a 75 basis point hike. And now I'm hearing a 20% chance of a 100 basis point hike, which would be the first time in 40 years that we've gotten such a huge hike. But we'll get more directionality. We're going to, of course, see what Lord Powell has to say about things. And unfortunately, crypto just hasn't decoupled yet away from that. So it's almost like it trades at an ultra leverage to the stock market directionality. And right now, that does appear to be to the downside. So it's just a matter of whether we get more pain or less pain in the near term, I would say, before things settle and we maybe have Jay Powell give up on the fight on inflation. But for right now, they've been doubling down on it. So it only seems like we could see more downside to come. So yeah, so you think the same, Neil Ward, for sure. Most probably a new bottom printed next year. I think that's generally what I've been thinking as well, is that around the first quarter, we would probably see some sort of reversal from the Federal Reserve. So we'll have to see on that. The only thing that makes sense is the 4-year cycle. That's the only one that historically has worked out for sure. And I had this comment here from Ryan Sean Adams that kind of sums things up as well for me. Since the merge didn't flip crypto bullish, we're probably in for a longer winter than some of you anticipated. Macro may take months to sort out. There are no significant price catalysts ahead. We're back to the hard work of biddling. Settle in. So there we have it. Although I thought this was nice, just to follow up on some of the after effects of the merge for you. You can see that it's been so stable now. The mean and median block interval for Ethereum. Glassnode said this on Twitter: since the Ethereum merge, both the mean and median block interval have been a remarkably consistent 12 seconds. You basically know exactly when every block is going to come out now, which is really nice. The transition from a probabilistic variability of proof of work mining to the engineered precision of POS block time can be seen below. So I would say that's overall a really nice benefit that we're getting right now. I wanted to give you a heads up if you haven't seen this yet and you want to take advantage of this and claim it maybe before somebody else does. Maybe you have a really unique username and you don't want someone squatting on it, then I would go ahead and take advantage of this. If you use the Coinbase wallet extension and you don't have to have it funded with any money at all, this is completely free to do. You can go ahead and claim one of these new Cb.Id usernames. So Coinbase had this to say: yes to ENS, since they've partnered with the Ethereum name service for this, and yes to Cb.Id, Coinbase.id. We're making Web3 more accessible for everyone, so we've partnered with ENS Domains to create Cb.Id usernames, a free-to-claim Web3 username now available on Coinbase Wallet extension. So you can link that to your Chromium-based browser, and you can sign up for your username almost right away. I finally set up a Coinbase wallet myself just to claim it, just so no one else could claim crypto's news. But someone had already claimed crypto, which is not a surprise. It's not a surprise to me, but I remember when I first claimed the name crypto early on, it was a surprise that nobody had ever thought to really claim crypto in any sort of serious way. But maybe others have figured that out by now. If you just change the letter at the end to a number, that's an interesting way of writing out crypto or claiming it as a username. So someone had claimed that one, but at least I got crypto's news. But I urge you to, if it's important to you, if you plan to stick around with Web3, you never know. These might blow up, allow you to claim different NFTs, grant you access to some airdrops in the future. It could be an easier way for people to send you ETH. Go ahead and claim that yourself, I would suggest right now. So Kwon is at risk of an Interpol red notice as net titan. So it turns out that the founder of Terra and the Luna, this partnership token, the algorithmic stablecoin that eventually crashed and led to all sorts of contagion and crashes across the board. So Kwon, the head of this, has been on the run, it appears, although he has denied doing that. He went from South Korea to Singapore back in April. And it's come out now that South Korean prosecutors are asking Interpol for help in arresting Kwon, as it says here, the progenitor of a $60 billion cryptocurrency wipeout. Ouch, because they're trying to charge him with breaking capital markets laws right now. And who knows, they might charge him with something else if they are to capture him. I imagine they're just trying to buy some times for themselves. I know people want to see him go down for fraud, but for now, that's what it is. But it does seem quite serious now. It doesn't look like Singapore can extradite him to South Korea, but if Interpol works with local authorities and enforcement agencies, they could possibly have him prosecuted and sent back over to South Korea. So that's of news. Typically, it says here that there would be a red notice that would seek enforcement from law enforcement globally, Interpol, after making an arrest, but this would take about a week before the notice is issued. So he's still good for now, for at least a week, it does appear. But it does look like he might not even be in Singapore any longer. It says here on Bloomberg, the city-state says that he's no longer there. So I'm not even sure they would capture him there. They're seeking 5 others as well that were involved with this, and they have yet to apprehend any of them as far as I'm aware. Kwon did say he's not on the run or anything similar for any government agency that has shown interest to communicate. We are in full cooperation and we don't have anything to hide, he said. However, he hasn't, again, revealed exactly where he is at. Apparently, he has been telling his own attorneys that he's not going to show up for any of the investigations, I guess you could say. He has no intention of appearing before questioning, it says here. It looks like he has a work visa, it seems, but that is due to expire in Singapore on December 7th. He has another application that is pending, but that might not really be approved considering his situation right now. At least I would think that would be likely. And he also could have his passport being canceled, it says here, which would force him to go back to Seoul within 14 days. But it seems at least he's trying to escape prosecution the legal way. So far, he kind of left as soon as things looked bad, and then now he's trying to just, I guess, feign stupidity. It seems even his family left, which is maybe not making him look very good. But if that doesn't work out, he might actually have to go on the run. Maybe we'll get some other John McAfee on a boat somewhere, or a yacht, I guess, in the case of Kwon, although that might be a little bit more obvious if you're trying to sail around a giant yacht. Greetings, new tribes. Nice to see you here. Wendell, what's up? Yes, Validator ETH, get your name fast. Yeah, I would say that's usually good advice. You don't want to be slow and then miss out in the future because of that. So this is a famous crypto influencer. I'm sure you've heard of him if you've been around in crypto since 2017. He was involved with quite a bit of the ICO scene. His name is Ian Bellina. He used to have a rankings list where he would show off his top ICOs. He is being sued by the SEC right now for his involvement with a project called Sparkster. The Spark tokens, apparently Ian Bellina had an unregistered offering and security of these tokens, which I went to Coin Market Cap, which is where I could find a list of markets for this token. It's not even listed on CoinGecko, and I can't even say whether it's gone to zero, but I would say it's gone to zero because you can't really find it on Uniswap, even though it's an Ethereum-based token, or really anywhere. I don't see any markets listed. So I guess this recommendation might have not been a good one. It looks like he had a chance to buy a bunch of tokens from the Sparkster company, and he took some of those tokens. He was given like a 30% bonus as well. And then he created his own offering, his own group, where he sold to about 50 investors, some of whom might have been in the United States. Although the larger ICO itself managed to raise $30 million from about 4,000 investors that were located in and abroad, in the United States and abroad as well. But the SEC, of course, is focused mostly on the United States here, but they go into a lot of details in the lawsuit, talking about him, his background, how he had been involved with Fortune 500 companies, how he was a citizen of Uganda until 2017, which is pretty much when he got into the crypto scene and the ICO scene. He left his job to go full time into his Diary of a Made Man vlog. It talked about how he didn't disclose fully how much he was paid to promote these Spark tokens, let alone how he had not received approval or exemption to have his own, I guess, secondary offering of these tokens. So they continued to retroactively just kind of go back into the 2017 area and charge people who might have been involved with pushing these sort of things to the larger public. So wanted to give you a heads up on that one, since he was quite huge in the crypto scene, although I haven't heard much from him recently. He also said that he is going to be taking this fight public, and he's not just going to try to just give in to this. He said on Twitter today, excited to take this fight public. This frivolous SEC charge sets a bad precedent for the entire crypto industry. So he's calling it frivolous. If investing in a private sale with a discount is a crime, the entire crypto VC space is in trouble. Turn down settlement, so they have to prove themselves. So I guess they tried to settle with him, but he didn't like the terms of that. And I guess he has probably made enough money. I mean, he famously, when he started, said he had turned $20,000 into $5 million and leveraged that forward to get involved with other projects and everything else. So I guess he can afford a good legal team to go ahead and fight another government agency. But it is nice to see more and more taking arms against these government agencies like the SEC and IRS, wasting their time and I guess taxpayer money. It's not really their money, I would say. Do I have any comments on the plight of crypto miners, new tribes? I don't know. It's just a different era, It's hard to say. It's like anything else that you might feel nostalgia for. It just feels like the time for proof of work has come and gone for the most part. Unless you're a big miner, you're really making nothing. And yeah, we're seeing right now that basically no coin is profitable. I suppose that's what you're talking about, New Tribe Z. That could go up if we have some sort of bull market. Maybe we'll get some sort of new wave of tokens, but I guess the technology for GPUs and ASICs will probably be wildly different, maybe even faster by then. So some of this hardware that some might be holding on to might be quite dated. And so I don't know. It sucks to be a miner. It helps to be forward thinking and to have thought, oh, well, what happens if Ethereum does go proof of stake, and try to get ahead of everyone else and sell your rigs beforehand? If you, I guess you just have to be forward thinking. And I don't know, man. It's rough for so many different people that it's hard for me to feel too bad, because this was expected for quite some time. And there just really isn't much in the work of when it comes to proof of work, I guess outside of a few coins like Bitcoin, Litecoin. I mean, you have the Moneros out there, but just not profitable. It sucks to be I would say a miner. I would wonder what It's Be Trippin', that guy on Twitter or the YouTube page, I wonder what Michael will have to say about all this, because I know he's been a big time hardware miner, and maybe I'll have to check out some of his comments. I don't know, New Tribes. Maybe check out It's Be Trippin' if you want to hear more from that kind of perspective. I basically mined most of Ethereum's history, but I stopped mining, I guess, recently, just because of the electrical costs here in California. But it's usually great to mine during a bull market and not so great to mine during a bear market. And it's something that's played out in the past and might be part of what's playing out right now. That would be just kind of my thoughts right now. So Ripple as well is looks like they might be ending their SEC case in regards to having potentially had an unregistered securities offering of themselves, Ripple, by selling these XRP tokens. It looks like something called a summary judgment has been filed in separate motions by both Ripple and by the SEC at the same time this weekend on Saturday. Both have called for this so-called summary judgment in the U.S. District Court of New York, Southern District of New York. Such summary judgments, it says here, are submitted to courts when a party involved believes there's enough evidence at hand to make a ruling without the need to proceed to trial. So I guess the SEC thinks they're 100% right, that they got enough evidence, and you have Ripple believing that they also have enough evidence to prove that they were not a security. Right now, it's looking, from what I've been seeing, it appears to be more in Ripple's favor right now. Ripple General Counsel said after 2 years of litigation, the SEC is unable to identify any contract for investment and cannot satisfy a single prong of the Supreme Court Howey test, basically claimed that all of this SEC case boils down to an impermissibly open-ended assertion of jurisdiction over any transfer of asset. This has huge implications for many different tokens that may be considered securities here in the United States. You get other trials that take place in the future that would point to this case as perhaps a way to exonerate themselves if this is ruled in Ripple's favor. And it was part of the reason that we had XRP jump up in price today. It went up to about 40 cents, but has recently dropped a little bit more. But I don't know. I guess maybe the reason it's been pumping recently is expectation that it will get dismissed, and that could lead to some sort of sell-off again by the rumor sell the fact. But we have seen that Ripple is working even with, WEF, the World Economic Forum. Is it? What are the top groups, right? The World Economic Forum, where they're listed as a partner, and potentially you could have different CBDCs that are issued very similarly to Ripple, maybe working with Ripple to enable these kinds of payments. But maybe they're so connected well up that I guess Ripple gets a pass here and everything else might not. That's a conspiracy theory hat. But Ripple doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. I think a lot of bets are in the favor of them being used for international payments. But it's always been the case with Ripple. Just wanted to give you a heads up on that this drama might eventually be over. Oh, also, this was interesting in relation to that. So one reason that the SEC might not be able to prove that Ripple is security is because there's no expectation of profits from some sort of, again, central promoter or issuer, like we talked about in the last video. A lot of definitions around that and the multiple prongs of what would consider something a security by passing the Howey test, the different prongs of it. But anyway, Jeremy Hogan posted this. I just read the briefs, and the SEC has got a couple of big problems. Its expert agrees that most of the changes in XRP's price are due to market forces and not Ripple and their own efforts. Ouch. These types of concessions are perfect for summary judgment. The SEC failed to get on record that any XRP purchaser heard Ripple's alleged marketing pitch. A big problem because it has the burden to prove everything here. So he concedes, according to this, it says here, he concedes that since at least mid-2018, broader cryptocurrency trends explain more than 50% of XRP returns. Interesting to see this angle being played out in this trial. And in the final full 2 calendar quarters before the SEC filed this action, quarter 2 and quarter 3 2020, returns for Bitcoin and Ether can explain as much as almost 90% of XRP returns, the overall broad crypto market. Because there is no dispute that most, recently nearly all of the change in XRP's price comes from market forces, the SEC cannot carry its burden of showing that XRP purchasers reasonably expected to obtain profits solely or even primarily from Ripple's efforts since at least mid-2018. I don't know, but I feel like Ripple has some really great lawyers. That at least we can gauge from this, because they know how to take every angle to bring the fight to the SEC. So in a way, I kind of commend them for that. So if you were missing some of this drama that played out over the weekend, I am proud to present it for you here. But Simon Dixon was able to have a kind of chat here with Alex Mashinsky, the CEO of Celsius, the now defunct company. So Alex Mashinsky finally broke his silence and spoke during this Twitter Spaces, and I would like to show it to you so you can see how it's playing out and kind of from the horse's mouth what he has to say and what seems to be his the first things he has to say publicly, really, with his voice, since all of this drama has started to play out. So check it out.
In our channels a dozen times. First of all, Celsius bankruptcy is not like all other bankruptcies. There are no bondholders or other people in front of the community. The community is the creditor, the main creditor, which means the community owns most of the company, most of the mining company.
Most of the money that might be left after they're after we get through all this, anyway.
Most of the cell token. So if Simon's trying to make you go somewhere else, that diminishes. That makes you throw stones at your own house. We are here to fix Celsius. We're here to bring everybody together. We're here to extract as much value as possible for the creditors, for all the people who are owning part of Celsius. I'm a creditor, just like you. One of the largest creditors, just like you. Okay, so instead of fixing, let me finish. Instead of trying to fix Celsius, Simon is trying to take you to a different house. Say, hey, forget about this one. Doesn't matter if you own a piece of it. Come with.
I think he's accusing Simon of having tried to basically buy out Celsius or have it integrated into Bank to the Future, and basically trying to steal the community away from the Celsius direction, or at least Alex Mashinsky's direction, as a way to, I don't know, claim even more of the money. But let's continue.
Me somewhere else because we're gonna make it better over there. That's not going to make it better for you, for what you own in Celsius. For us to maximize the value of the company, we need to stick together and rebuild this company. That's all we need to do. Okay? And I'm shocked.
Okay, Alex, how would you suggest? How could I help in that process?
Who is he's betraying his own investors, the people he brought into the A round to come in with him. Instead of fixing the problem, help fix the problem, he's trying to buy it on the cheap. He's trying to take you somewhere else. Just like if there was anybody who didn't help their fellow man, it's Simon Dixon.
These are
okay. So Alex, what would you like?
Plain C, stop.
Let's have a constructive conversation with
Plain C.
I'm allowed to speak. All I'm saying is
no.
let's have a constructive excuse me, I'm talking.
So Alex, what could we do to help better?
We have a process. It's called Chapter 11. We all are part of that process. You have an idea, you have a way to solve this, you need to submit a plan to the UCC. That's what you need to do.
That's the Committee for Unsecured Creditors, is the UCC, which is basically looking out for the average person or people who had funds on Celsius, which are considered unsecured creditors.
Bringing on
that's not quite the process, Alex.
Bringing on a competitor of Celsius and trying to convince people to switch over, trying to convince everybody that somehow the other house is better, while everybody's suffering.
You know as well as us. You know as well as us that we. You know as well as us that both Sean and us have offered up solutions. And you know the process is not to go to the UCC. It's to go to the investment bank.
Did you submit a plan to the UCC?
No, it's not to the UCC. It's to the investment bank that Celsius has engaged.
You need to submit a plan to the UCC, Simon. That's what you need to do.
Okay, well, that's not the process. The process is the investment bank. You created
your own process. You decided to create your own process. You were trying to take the Celsius community somewhere else. You're basically telling them, guys, come take new loans.
Alex, did both Sean and I offer up all of our licenses at one stage to try and get this compliant?
This has nothing to do with any of that. Okay, this has to do with all the people on this call getting as
Do
much
you
as they
agree
can
that the
back.
regulators are a big part of whether this actually gets out of Chapter 11?
The only thing you have to do, Simon, is submit a plan. Can you submit a plan? Instead of giving all the excuses
And
in
you
the
know it
world,
doesn't go to the UCC. It has to go
instead
to
of
your investment
instead
banks
of
that
all
you've
the
engaged.
excuses, just submit a plan.
And you know what process and what I can and can't say and what documents had to be signed that is preventing me
You
saying
already,
what's happening here.
Simon, come on. How many months did you spend in the data room at Celsius? Can you share it with everybody? Just tell everybody.
There's a document
months?
that made you that I had to sign that doesn't allow me to answer that question.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I think you already
And you
violated.
know the process is
you
the
already
investment
violated
bank
that document by
Celsius
disclosing
controls.
certain things on calls before. So I think you're already beyond that point. Okay. So anyway, look, I'm trying to be constructive here. Okay.
Okay, let's do that, Alex.
We are trying to help the Celsius community. We're trying to return the coins to everybody as fast as possible. That's what we all should be focused on.
Okay, and should we be focused on getting this so that regulators allow this to come out?
You keep coming up with every excuse possible to talk about everything else besides what I just said.
You know that's the issue, Alex. You know that's the issue. You're just trying to avoid that.
Can I ask a question to Alex? It's an important question for everyone.
I think he's left.
It's a very simple.
Look, to be fair, sorry, Pansy. To be fair, I want to be fair. Alex literally just came up against all of his lawyers' advice because this meant so much to him to say what he, and it's very, very challenging for anybody to have to listen to this without you getting your say. Okay, so he dropped off not because he didn't want to, because Alex would, stand up to anybody. That's certainly something he would do, but he left because he had to. And so I just want to be fair because we could say a bunch.
I mean, you guys get the idea. Definitely some bickering there. It looks like Alex came out to be politically quite good for the Celsius community, but this has been taking all sort of this is causing to the community to rift even further, and now to call. You have one side calling Simon Dixon a liar and a fraud, and you have the other side calling Alex Mashinsky a fraud. And how could you let somebody who failed as such a leader before continue to try to rebuild the company and basically maybe even turn it from a Chapter 11 into a Chapter 7, where he could try to restructure the company and save face somehow and not end up in prison. I don't know. It just seems like quite a bit of drama there. Even Kiwi agrees. He wants to get. He's trying to get involved. Why are you mad, dude? Ow! He bit me in the lip. Jeez. Anyway, that's some of the latest in drama. I think drama related to Celsius. The most important thing related to them that I think you should be keeping a lookout is for some of the hearings coming out on October 6th and October 7th. So we'll stay tuned for that as this all continues to play out. So this was of note. Indian exchange WazirX, probably the biggest exchange in India for crypto, has followed Binance in delisting USDC. So just like Binance, when you deposit certain stable coins, USDC, Pax Dollar, True USD, they automatically get converted into Binance stablecoin. Even though you're on Wazir Exchange, it doesn't look like they have their own stablecoin. They're using Binance here. And so they're going to do a one-for-one exchange automatically to combine the order books. So you'll be trading on the Binance exchange, basically, on that book. And when you withdraw, you're still allowed to withdraw to whatever coin you want. I just thought it was interesting that you had another exchange doing this as well that's not Binance, yet using Binance stablecoin. So I wanted to share it with you. In August, Binance denied any equity ownership in WazirX. So they're not even supposedly tethered together, so to speak. And yet still you have this being done. So I thought that was interesting. Kiwi, you're not going to be on the show, man. We can't do this every day. And he's talking in the back. I don't know if you guys can hear over him. But anyway, one of the coins that I've noticed has been performing quite well during all of this. I haven't really looked at any individual coins, and I will say I have no position in this coin, nor any plans to initiate a position anytime I don't know. I don't really have any sort of plans to pick it up. But I did notice that it has been, this is over the last 90 days, in a general uptrend where you have higher lows. And this is not something that we've been seeing with a lot of coins. You probably have heard about GMX. It powers a platform. I wanted to check it out, so I took a small position in it just to test it. We'll probably close it, but it's one of the only exchanges where you can make money in a bear market. It works on Arbitrum 1. So on the Arbitrum second layer, I guess you could call it, Ethereum chain, you can go ahead and go short on something if you wanted to. So I wanted to test it here with ETH just to try it out. Look, I already quickly lost $20. If you want to do it yourself, there's a link down below if you want to go ahead and trade on GMX. But first you have to bridge some funds over to your Arbitrum. So you can just log into like your MetaMask or Coinbase wallet. Make sure you go to like chainlist.org and you can get information there on what to input. You change what network you're on away from Ethereum, make double, triple check that you're on the Arbitrum one, and then you'll get to take advantage once you basically move some assets. You have to have ETH in there to pay for transaction fees. Then you can move other assets such as USDC or whatever else over into Arbitrum 1, where you'll be able to log into different decentralized exchanges or applications such as GMX. And GMX allows you, again, to trustlessly go long, short, and swap between different assets and get leverage up to even 30x. Extremely risky. I would not recommend it unless you're a pro, unless you know what you're doing when it comes to even changing between different networks. I would advise a great deal of caution. But for some of you pro traders out there, I figured you might want to check that out as just another way that if you really do feel like we're going to be heading down to $800 ETH, you could take advantage of that. Or maybe you think we are going to be getting some sort of bull market in a certain token, you could take that direction as well. And yeah, really, really low fees once you're already on Arbitrum 1 and extremely quick execution. It just takes about 10 to 15 minutes to move from the mainnet over to Arbitrum. But I would say it's worth checking out GMX as just a good showcase of how you can do BitMEX trustlessly. Pretty awesome. Anyway, we'll finish up with this meme. Thank you, El Marie. She said, "We hear you just fine. The mic is doing its job." And I also want to thank her for our meme of the day, I guess you could call it. We haven't done a meme of the day in a while, but she showed me this one yesterday, which I thought was great. You attract what you fear. Me. Oh yeah, just visualize that wallet and fear it. And our quote of the day here, which is, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. And I think that applies to so much in crypto, especially having been through multiple cycles. You start seeing certain things, and it's you can't deny the directionality. If you see that the market is going that way, you can't fight it. Just like they say, don't fight the Fed. Is it too easy to just believe don't fight the Fed? Maybe. So far it has played out that way. I still am holding on for what I think ultimately will be a decoupling away from fiat. We're not at that point just yet. So you can only live with the reality that's in front of you, and I guess learn the game and play it as best as you can. So take care, everyone. Much love and stay cryptic. Peace.